Welcome. Today is Tuesday, April 18th, and we are starting module or week 4. And the goal is to begin formulating your action research project, which I consider to be your learning artifact. And by learning artifact, I mean that you'll be submitting a document that demonstrates a level of mastery or competence in applying the techniques we've studied so far to a hypothetical or real situation that you might be incurring at your place of work or in an organization. So what we want to talk about today is we want to really focus on what is decision support and what models are most applicable that you might think about for this project. I'd like to draw your attention to two of the most pervasive models. The first one is that classic model we've already discussed a little bit. And then the second one is this garbage can model. I think that both of them tend to be the default models that are used in either and or K-12 and higher ed. And interestingly, they are really the inverse of each other. One is a process where the classic model is the process of where you start with a question and end up with an answer. And the garbage can is really the inverse of that, where you start with an answer where you know the answer and you work your way back to solving the question, so to speak. So in doing so, that brings me to this idea of qualitative versus quantitative as your approach to data collection and analysis. What we're really talking about in qualitative versus quantitative is a methodology on data collection and therefore analysis. With quantitative, typically what we're looking at is the extraction of data out of some sort of information system, usually a database. And so the school leader on either discipline, K-12 or higher ed, would then be using the data to support some options or choices on whatever question, usually centered around school improvement for the K-12 and enrollment or demographic analysis or financial analysis for the higher ed folks. So we're looking at a numbers-based approach for quantitative, and for qualitative, we're looking at more of a true action research model that is qualitative in nature, usually originating with data from observations, from case studies, from interviews, from other methods that a teacher or a team may collect that is primarily based on description, not numbers, thereby being qualitative. So in either environment, higher ed or K-12, there is a context for both types. And what I suggest for you to consider is that based on your particular leadership style, that I would urge you to consider picking quantitative or qualitative and match it up to the garbage can or to the classic model, depending on what your ultimate objectives might be in terms of whatever department you may be working in, and whether it's enrollment or whether it's curricular, something along those lines. So I'll leave you with the idea that everybody in this class will be producing a unique learning artifact, and that when you view the learning artifacts in the showcase, you'll get a flavor for the terrific variety of questions being answered or decisions being made. So in that form, or in that context, I would also urge that don't stay within your silo and your little subgroup and only engage in discussion about what is going on in higher ed or how you might be approaching problems in higher ed. But I'd also encourage you to log in and take a look at the other group's discussion, and you might be able to see some unique ways that it's being applied in a different discipline and could be reformulated to benefit decision support in your particular environment. As we move into the formulation of your particular project, don't forget that you have access to and should be looking at 2 additional pieces of reading besides the textbook, and that is the overall discussion of what is action research in one publication, and then the process descriptions from the chapter of Pacino. So I'd urge you to take a look at those, and then once you've got a little bit of background, jump in and participate. So join me in your subgroups for a conversation, won't you? Bye.